everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well as always. Before we get this video started, I just wanted to remind you all to please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this every Monday and Friday. Today, I will be filming a video that I have been wanting to film since before I even started this channel, and that is basically how I got into college. How did I get into the schools that I got into? What did I do? And honestly, just to give tips that I wish I could have given myself before I started the entire college application process, because I honestly was so stressed throughout my entire college application process, and I feel like that's just because I didn't have the right guidance. I used to watch a lot of videos like this, and they did help me to an extent, but I just wanted to add a little take on what I did, my stats, my extracurriculars, my general tips on college applications, because if this video ends up helping just one of you, it would have fulfilled its purpose. I wanted to start off with a little disclaimer that this is just my personal experience. I'm not meaning to brag in any way or the other. Literally, I was not the perfect high school student, nor am I trying to say that I was. This is just what I did, what helped me get through it, and what I wish I would have told myself before I started all of this. I also believe that if you work hard for anything that you want, you will get what you want. I don't believe in the concept of being naturally smart. Like, that's the dumbest thing in my opinion. I believe that if you work hard, you're gonna get results for your hard work. And I do think I worked really hard throughout high school, and that's how I got into some of these schools, and that's why I want to share some of these tips for you guys. At the end of the day, this is all just meant to be informative, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. Message me on any of my social medias, all linked down in the bio section. I also really wanted to make sure this video came out good for you guys, so I went ahead and made an entire outline that I will be basing myself off, just to make sure that I don't go off into a tangent, because I tend to talk a lot and go off into unrelated topics very easily. And down below you will be able to find an entire list of timestamps of the different sections that I divided this video into, like tips, stats, extracurriculars, and etc. But make sure to watch throughout the entire video, because I believe that all of these topics and these points and these sections play an extremely pivotal role in the college application process. But if you're in a rush, if you're in a hurry, I mean, go ahead and skip to the specific topic that you're interested in. But yeah, so let's get started. To begin, what schools did I apply to? Now, for reference, I live in the Miami, Florida area, and I applied to a total of 11 schools. And those schools are FIU, Nova, Florida State University, University of Miami, University of Florida, Harvard, Stanford, University of Southern California, also known as USC, UCLA, UC Berkeley, and the University of Colorado Boulder. And I know what you're probably wondering. How many of these schools did I actually get into? Well, out of these 11 schools, I got into FIU, Nova, Florida State, University of Miami, University of Florida, UC Berkeley, and the University of Colorado Boulder. So I got into a total of 7 out of the 11 schools that I applied to. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to the University of Florida this coming fall. I'm extremely excited for that. I think it's an extremely smart financial decision for me, and it's honestly not that far from home. It's about a 6-hour drive, and I just feel like it's gonna be a great time, you know? So now that we've been over the basics about me, my personal little college application background, let's get started with my tips. So the first tip is to basically create a Google Doc, a Word doc. I use Google Docs because I can access it from my laptop, computer, iPad, and desktop. In school, when I would work on my college applications, I literally had the Google Doc with all of this information on it, and I could literally just base it off. So I highly recommend Google Docs, because you can log in from any computer and have all of your information saved on that Google Doc. And you're wondering, what are you gonna have on this Google Doc? I actually still have mine, and I have it pulled up on my phone right now. I put every single school that I applied to. And here you can put, what are you missing? So am I missing to send my transcripts, my SAT scores, my ACT scores? What is the deadline for this school? Am I missing recommendation letters, scholarship deadlines, and things like that? Because honestly, this entire process, especially if you apply to a lot of schools, can get extremely overwhelming if you are not organized. And that is why organization is honestly the most important thing in this entire process. And I believe creating this Google Doc is honestly one of the only reasons, I stayed mentally sane throughout this entire process just because it reminded me of everything I had to do. And when I went ahead and turned those transcripts or those scores in, I just went ahead and deleted it, and I know that I'm done for that school. My next tip is to apply for early action if your school offers one. Now, some schools like the University of Florida, they basically tell you if you don't apply by the early deadline of November 1st, you're not going to get in. And this is just some research that you guys, I recommend you do on your own. Add that to your Google Doc, make sure that's in there and you're reminded of, because it's so easy to forget these things. Now, there are two different things. There's early action and there's early decision. Early decision is a binding agreement. You are basically agreeing that if you get in, like if they accept you, you are going to go. And I mean, if you are a diehard for a school and you know since early senior year you want to go there and that's your dream school, like go all for it, because it gives you higher chances of getting in. I just was never like that diehard for a school, and I'm also very indecisive, so I could not make a decision that early on. So that is why I did not apply to early decision anywhere, and I honestly don't really recommend it, because if you end up just backing out later, like, I don't know, I just think like give yourself options. But I do recommend early action. I don't think there's really a point in waiting for regular decision. I like to get things done early just so that you don't have a lot to do later. I'm very anti-procrastination, and so if you have the chance to turn in your applications early, don't wait until regular decision when you're going to have less chance to get in, and you're just going to end up being more stressed out because you left everything for later. Some of these schools require so many essays. Stanford, I think it was like 10 short responses. Like, these things take time, and they take a lot of time and dedication. So please, one other major tip is do not procrastinate. If you are a big procrastinator, this is the one thing you do not want to procrastinate on, and that is your college application. I'm basically flowing into my next tip, but that is to start early. I literally started my UF application in July when Coalition goes ahead and opens. And you guys will learn that Common App and Coalition are basically these websites where you can apply to many schools with one common application. And I think now Common App is the more common one, but I don't know, I ended up just using Coalition for a lot of them. But here, a lot of teachers and your counselors can directly link your recommendation letters, and it just shares it with every single school, making the application process so much easier. The only schools that I didn't use Common App or Coalition for, I think, was the UC schools, so UCLA and UC Berkeley, but they have like a completely different system for the UC schools, and that is the UC application. But the moment that Common App and Coalition opens, which is I think in July, start your application. I started my University of Florida application in July and I didn't submit it until September. You do not want to half-ass these applications. Start early, work on them a little bit every day. If you are taking a lot of AP classes or you're having a heavy workload your senior year, you do not want to top that all off with all of this college stress. And that is why I believe you should start your applications in the summer. I finished my general Common App and Coalition profile before school even started, and I highly recommend you do that as well. A lot of the people that I was around and that I saw didn't even turn in their applications until like the day before they were due, and I saw the stress that they were around, and I just think that's not a good thing to go through, and it's honestly going to make you feel worse. So if you guys are going to take one thing out of this video, it's to start early. Please start early. I mean, in the summer, just do one thing every day. I literally would just log on every day, do a little bit part of my profile, or do some research, or at least come up with your college list. Just come up with your college list, which schools you want to apply to, what do they require. At the end of the day, you are doing this for you, not for anybody else. You do not want to be a ball of stress your senior year. Trust me. My next tips are regarding tuition, financial aid, and costs in general. And that is to research tuition costs before you apply to a school. For example, USC. I really wanted to go to USC. That was like my dream school. Besides the point that I didn't even get accepted into USC, their tuition for out of state is literally almost $70,000. Even if I would have gotten into that school, I wouldn't have gone just because of the tuition. And I didn't even see the tuition until after I applied. Do not waste your time on applications of schools that you do not even imagine going to. And I can find myself guilty of this. I applied to some schools that I'm like, even if I got in, I wouldn't go. And I honestly, this is one of my biggest regrets, because number one, I wasted time, and number two, I probably could have taken the spot of somebody that didn't get in and really wanted to go to that school. And that is honestly one of my biggest regrets. And please guys, if you do not plan on going to a school, do not apply there. Do your research before and save yourself time and save yourself money, because if you do not have free or reduced lunch, you have to pay for every single application that you turn in. The UC schools literally charge you $70 per school that you apply to. So I got mine waived, but if I didn't have my application fees waived, I would have ended up paying $140 just for 2 applications. Stanford's application fees $90. So trust me guys, do not apply to a school just for fun. It might seem like such a great and brilliant idea. Like my junior year, I was like, yeah, why not? But trust me guys, literally you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money, and it just makes no sense. You're taking away somebody's spot. And my last tip is to please do not feel pressured to apply to a school just because everybody else around you is applying to one. If everybody around you is like, oh my god, I'm gonna apply to UF, and 50% of those people really want to go to UF and they get in, but maybe some of them don't, just because the other 50% just applied for fun and they ended up getting in, and maybe it took away the spots of some of those people that really wanted to go. So honestly, don't feel pressured to go to a school, apply to a school, be interested in a school just because other people aren't. Find your home of a school. I honestly think that like when you walk into a campus, you are going to feel at home. You're gonna be like, this is my place. This is where I wanna go. And actually, to add on to that point, please, if you have the chance, if you have the opportunity, I know that now with coronavirus, this is all really difficult. If you live relatively close, I mean by close I mean like 7 to 8 hour driving distance from a school that you really think you want to go to, visit that school, because you literally get a vibe off of it. I had the opportunity of going to college tour my junior year, and the moment I went to UF, I was like, I feel like this is my home, this is my school. When I went to UCF or FSU, I was like, I don't really like it here. It's not me. The campus is still gorgeous, the people are still super nice, but it's just not for me. It's not my school. It's not where I'm meant to go. Okay, so the next section really isn't like advice, but I know people are probably curious because all of the videos that I watch regarding college acceptances, everybody's always like, show me your stats, even though like I really am so like anti SAT, ACT, like I could make an entire video about how much I hate the SAT, ACT standardized testing, but I'm just gonna say it so that you guys see that I am literally quite average when it comes to my SAT and ACT scores. So, starting with my GPA. If you guys see me looking to the side, it's because I literally have everything written down. I am graduating with a unweighted GPA of 3.998, a weighted GPA of 5.402. I have a 29 on the ACT and a 1210 on the SAT on the 1600 scale. In my opinion, I honestly did so much better on the ACT than the SAT. So if you're feeling discouraged, that you feel like you can't really prosper in a certain test, whether it be SAT or ACT, do the other one. Like I literally took 3 SATs before I even tried the ACT. Do 1 SAT, do 1 ACT, decide what works better for you, and practice for that test. Continuing on, my class rank is 7 out of, I think my class is 315 people, around there. I don't really know. And just like demographics, I also feel play a really big role when you're applying to college. And I am Hispanic, I am a woman, and I am first generation American. I'm not first generation college student because my mother did go to college and so did my older sister, but I'm first generation American as I was born here, but my parents were not. In this section, I also think it's a really good time to talk about how random I think college acceptances really are. So please, if you do not get accepted into the school, like do not think that it is because like your scores weren't good enough, or because your GPA wasn't good enough, or because your extracurriculars weren't enough. Like I honestly think schools have to meet certain quotas, so they need a certain amount of Hispanic women in STEM, a certain amount of men in nursing. So it's like they want to select a few people in order to be able to call their school diverse. Sadly, if you fall into a really common demographic, like, it might be harder for you to get in somewhere. Like, for example, if you're a guy interested in engineering and you're applying for Georgia Tech, you have the least chance of getting in than if you're a girl interested in engineering applying to Georgia Tech. It just, they have to meet certain quotas and diversity levels for their schools. I know some people that got higher SAT scores than others, did more in high school than other people, and still didn't get into the same schools, and that's just because of diversity and things like that. And honestly, who knows what's in the mind of these admissions people. Like, honestly, I think college admissions is one of the biggest, like, mysteries in this world, like, biggest world wonder, like, because it just makes no sense. Like, some people that I think really deserve to go to a school don't get in, and it's just really strange to me. But I think there is randomization and lottery playing into a certain part of college admissions. So if you worked hard, if you're a good student, do not feel bad just because you didn't get into a certain school. A school accepting you shouldn't define how hard you worked in high school. You literally could have been the top of the top, best of the best, and a school didn't get you, and that's not your fault. That's just because maybe they ran out of spots or it was a really competitive year. My class was so freaking competitive, and it wasn't just in my school, it was literally schools across the entire United States. Like, when I got my acceptance for UF, they sent an email that this was their most competitive applicant pool in the last 100 years. So it's like, you can't change the fact that you applied during a really competitive school year. So it's just like, honestly, I want to make a separate video about like what I wish I would have known before going into high school or before going into senior year. And one of them is that, honestly, whatever is meant to be yours is going to be yours. If you're meant to go to a certain school, you're going to go to that certain school, and don't feel down just because you don't get into your dream school, because there will always be a path for you, and there will always be a place for you and another school that wants you, and it's going to give you the program that you want, the financial aid that you want. Trust me. And I know it's hard to think about these things when you first get that rejection letter back. You will look back on yourself a few months later and be like, wow, I'm actually glad I didn't get in there, because I found a really great, awesome program at a different school that I would have never imagined me going for if I wouldn't have gotten rejected from a different school. And I can attest to this just because I've seen it happen to some of the closest people around me. I knew I was going to get into a tangent before I even started this video, but just to end off that little spiel, do not judge people just because of the school they're going to. Like, I have some friends that were judged so hard just because you're wasting your talent if you're going to XYZ school. Like, you don't know people's economic situations, their plans for the future. Your school does not define how smart you are, how far you're gonna get in life, how successful you're gonna be in life. Some of the most successful people didn't even go to college. So literally, stop judging people just because of the schools they go to. Don't judge people if they decide to apply to 20 schools or if they decide to apply to one. Literally, let everybody do whatever the hell they want to do, and focus on your schools, focus on your college applications. You're gonna save so much time if you just focus on yourself. And I should just save all of this for a whole separate video on things I wish I would have known before I got into high school. But if you guys want to see that video, comment down below. So let's continue on with the video. The next section is academics. Here I just put in some random little things that I think were important, and that is, I am graduating with my Associates in Arts degree from Miami-Dade College, which is a community college in my area. I did dual enrollment since 9th grade. I also took 1 AP my freshman year, 3 APs my sophomore year, 4 APs my junior year, and 5 APs my senior year. Now, if your goal is to graduate high school with your Associates in Arts degree, I highly recommend you to go the dual enrollment route. Now, yes, take AP classes because this differentiates you as a more, academically inclined, like, student that can handle a lot of things. Colleges want to see that you can handle a big plate. But if your goal is just to graduate with your AA and you're taking APs to get credits towards your AA, I recommend you do dual enrollment. Like, dual enrollment classes are a lot easier than AP classes. They provide a lot less stress. You get really accustomed to that college environment before you're even in college, and you meet a lot of new people. It teaches you how to register for classes, how to be in a college setting where teachers aren't gonna like chase after you. They literally are just like, do this, turn it in when it's due, go home. I feel like I matured a lot in high school through taking dual enrollment classes, and it taught me a lot of responsibility and taught me how to register, how to do things that I wouldn't have known until I was a freshman in college. I wouldn't have taken dual enrollment. And dual enrollment also saves you so much money. You are literally taking free classes with free books at a community college in your area, or I think even FIU, which is a really good university in my area, also does dual enrollment with certain schools. My school didn't offer it, but they're giving you free classes, free books to get a degree while you're still in college. You're saving money, and you're saving 2 years of your bachelor's degree. So I literally could not recommend dual enrollment more. If you're a 9th grader watching this, please do dual enrollment. I know people that started their junior year and they still graduating because they grinded it out. You can transfer credits from different places. Trust me, please do dual enrollment. It is the most worth it thing I have ever done in high school. And I just think dual enrollment is so much better than AP. AP, they're like college style classes, and it's so stressful. They give you so much work. I literally, I'm putting myself out there right now, but I only passed like a handful of my AP classes, and literally, so it's like you did it for no reason because you're not even getting college credit for it. And some schools don't even accept all of the credits from AP classes. So how cool is it to be able to graduate from college at the same time that you're graduating from high school? Just, if you think you could handle it, please do it. My next section is honestly the section that I am most proud of, and that is extracurriculars. I will be honest, I did a lot outside of school during high school, and I think that's what got me into some of these schools. I was extremely involved. I did a lot with my school and without my school, and I'll just list that for you guys really quickly. So I was FBLA president for 2 years and a treasurer for 1. NHS treasurer for 1 year, SGA, which is student government, for 2 years, and I was the historian and treasurer. I was a member of over 10 clubs my junior and senior year of high school. I did EMR and ENT. I started my own custom confection business. I worked at Starbucks for I think like 6 months. I tutored for 3 years, played volleyball for 2 years. I played the flute for 3 years, one of them in high school. And yeah, I honestly think that colleges just want to see a very well-rounded student that does a lot, not just in the classroom, and excels everywhere around them. Besides college admissions, I think getting involved is such an amazing and awesome thing to do in high school. Like, school became more for me than just going to class. It was just like getting into student government, and FBLA taught me how to speak in front of large groups of people, how to work under pressure, how to organize events, how to socialize with people. It allows you to make so many new friends. Again, this is something that I should be including in my what I wish I would have known before starting high school video, but just honestly, dude, like, go for it. Don't be afraid to join clubs, to join sports. Like, at the end of the day, you're gonna graduate and you're never gonna see half these people again in your life. Just go for it. Literally, like, you are not gonna regret it. Half of the friends and the relationships that I've made in high school have been through FBLA, SGA, student government. I think extracurriculars are extremely important. Moving forward, colleges are moving more away from the whole GPA and standardized testing, scores type thing, and they're moving more towards seeing a student that's involved in their community, involved in making their school a better place, in changing the world. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to change the world from freaking getting an A on your test or getting a 1600. You're gonna make change by joining these organizations. And honestly, it feels great to be able to like be close with the administration at your school and make relationships with your teachers, with your counselors, with your advisors. So this isn't even just like college admission. I think you all should get heavily involved in your schools. You will not regret it. It's so much work handling all of these things, but yeah. And schools also want to see that you are doing more outside of school, like getting a job, starting something. Like, I started my own business, and it was honestly one of the best decisions I ever could have made, and it differentiated me from other students, other applicants. And you want to find something that's going to make you unique. The more unique you are, the smaller quota you will be in, and the more likely you are to get into this school. For the next section, community service. This is a pretty short section, but schools just want to see that you're giving back to your community, again, being a productive member of society. And I volunteered at a hospital for 2 years. I volunteered at a summer camp for a summer, and I did a lot of ocean cleanups through my dual enrollment classes, and I gave back within the clubs at my school, like can drives and homeless drives and feeding the homeless and things of this sort. And you also want to volunteer in areas that relate to the major you want to go into. So like, for example, I want to do physical therapy, and that's why I volunteered in the hospital, to be more close to healthcare. And if you have the chance, like, I mean, if you're planning on, I don't know, being a lawyer, like, try to do volunteer hours at a lawyer's office, like, to see if that's what you really want to do. And you're gonna have to do your volunteer hours to graduate anyways, at least like in my county, but try to do something related to the job that you want in the future to see if that's what you really want to do, instead of wasting time once you're ready in college. Okay, so I think that is all that I wanted to talk about. I probably skipped over some stuff here and there, but if you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I will personally help you guys. Honestly, having someone that has gone through the process to guide you through your own process will help you so much. Trust me, you will not be bothering me. It doesn't matter if I know you or if I don't. I will help you. I will answer your questions. And yeah, so yeah, if you watched this entire video, thank you so much for sticking around and watching. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel and provide more video recommendations down below. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all continue to have an amazing day. Bye.